A very good afternoon to all the participants. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, as you all know, FIEO endeavors to provide its members as well as the rest of the EXIM community with the best of services. And we regularly hold sessions relating to topics of interest for our members. They can relate to new technologies such as digital marketing and e-commerce, but we also hold sessions on traditional topics, which are of importance because getting your facts right when stepping out in your export journey is extremely crucial. It can be related to compliance, and like today, the session is related to trade finance. And a very important topic at that one, which covers LC, particularly transferable LC. So for today's session, the speaker with us is ICICI. Mr. Isaac Tudu has been associated with FIEO for a many great number of years now. Isaac sir is the owner of Tudu Financial Services, a consultancy firm engaged in providing trade finance services since 2019. He is a banking professional with extensive experience in trade finance. He has served with State Bank of India for 15 years and ICICI Bank for 10 years. Sir is an ICC certified trainer of Incoterms in India and is also very well versed with ICC rules relative to trade finance. Previously, Isaac sir has conducted a great number of sessions relating to trade finance, LCs, various other advanced payments, and many other domains. So I have no doubt that any and all questions that might arise from this particular session will be covered by sir. For the participants, just a few general instructions in the beginning. So the way we will proceed is that once the presentation starts, we will continue with the presentation without any interruptions. There might be moments when sir asks for a response from the audience. So you might unmute your microphones during that time. But at all other times, I would request the participants to keep their microphones on mute. If you have any questions, please type them out in the chat box. In case you're facing any technical difficulties, you can type out the same in the chat box or let me or my colleague, Mr. Arpan, know about it. So with that, sir, over to you, and we can now start the session.
Thanks a lot, Prakhyath and entire team of FIEO. So it is my privilege to be there, and I welcome all the participants on this webinar, or you can say that video webinar. So today topics we are going to discuss about transferable LC and back-to-back LC also. Okay. So transferable LC, you can say that it is a very good means of, you can say, you can use this LC when you do not have working capital. Okay. We will try to understand each and every aspect of transferable LC. So let me share my screen with all of you. I believe my screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let us start our webinar. So whatever query questions you will have, please keep those questions. We will definitely answer each and every query related to whatever we are going to discuss. Okay, so today we are going to cover two topics, transferable LC and back-to-back LC. So quickly, I can give you what are the topics we are going to cover in today's webinar. What is transferable LC? Transferable LC, how does it work? Why there is a need for transferable LC? What is the advantage of transferable LC? What are the changes allowed in UCP 600 under transferable LC? And what are the changes not allowed in transferable LC? Under transferable LC, what is the rights of first beneficiary? We will understand that also. What are the risks involved in transferable LC? What is back-to-back LC? And what are the similarities as well as differences between transferable LC and back-to-back LC? So we will start with the very first subtopics, that is what is transferable LC. So how will you know that this LC is a transferable LC? So basically, transferable LC means a LC that specifically states it is transferable. So word transferable need to be there. So LC means whenever we receive LC Swift 700 message, there we need to find out whether word transferable has been used or not. If word transferable is there, that means that LC is a transferable LC. And transferable LC may be made available in whole or in part to another beneficiary, that is second beneficiary at the request of the beneficiary, first beneficiary. What does it mean? It means that you have received a transferable LC, right? So you are beneficiary of that transferable LC. So as at the request of the beneficiary, means first beneficiary, transferring bank may transfer whole amount or maybe in part to another beneficiary. Who will be the another beneficiary or second beneficiary? Basically, second beneficiary will be the supplier of the goods. Okay. Who will be the first beneficiary? First beneficiary usually would be the trader. You can say merchant trader, intermediate trader. So with this background, we will try to understand what is transferable LC. So basically, word you need to find out whether transferable word is there or not. How you will find out? Here I have given one sample of Swift MT700. Field number 40A, you will find the word form of documentary credit. So here you will observe irrevocable, transferable. So you need to find out if it is mentioned there, like this here, 40, field number 40A, irrevocable, transferable means this LC is a transferable LC. Okay, we can just ignore other parts. We need to focus that, okay, fine, this LC is a transferable LC. For example, you are an exporter and you have received one LC which has got this word transferable, means it is a transferable LC. Let us understand this further, okay? So transferable LC is used when the beneficiary is not the actual supplier of the goods or the providers of the services or performance. The beneficiary will be an agent or trader that is acting as an intermediary for the applicant and or the beneficiary, right? So this transferable LC piece is so critical that entire article 38 has been dedicated to it under UCP 600. We all know that LC is governed under UCP 600, one of the ICICI publication. There you will find one entire article 38 is dedicated only for transferable LC. So few of the things we need to understand before we go further. What is transferring bank? So transferring bank means a nominated bank that transfers the credit or in a credit available with any bank, a bank that is specifically authorized by the issuing bank to transfer, and that bank transfers the credit. Here credit means it is LC. An issuing bank may be a transferring bank. This is as per UCP article. So simple, which bank will be called as a transferring bank? Transferring bank will be a nominated bank mentioned in the LC, and that nominated bank transfer the LC will be called as a transferring bank. What if that LC is not restricted to only any one bank? Maybe that LC is available with any bank. In that case, a bank that is specifically authorized by the issuing bank to transfer the LC, and if that bank transfers the LC, that bank will be called as a transferring bank. I have highlighted here in dark that an issuing bank may be a transferring bank. What does it mean? So what will happen that in practice, LC providing for transfer by the issuing bank are issued quite often. Sometimes an issuing bank has to perform the function of a transferring bank. When this scenario will be there, when the bank originally authorized by the issuing bank to transfer does not transfer. That means what? A bank which is authorized by the issuing bank to transfer the LC is not mandated to transfer. They may transfer, they may not transfer. Further concept we need to understand when we talk about transferable LC, what does it mean? Transferred credit means transferred LC. When transferable LC that has been transferred, means it has been made available by the transferring bank to a second beneficiary, that LC will be called as a transferred LC. So for first beneficiary, it will be a transferable LC. When that first beneficiary requests for transfer part of the LC or whole of the LC to second beneficiary, who will be the actual supplier of the goods, for second beneficiary, that LC will be called as a transferred LC. We need to remember one more concept here, that a bank is under no obligation to transfer a credit except to the extent and in the manner expressly consented to by that bank. So what does it mean? Whether or not to transfer a transferable LC is the prerogative of a bank nominated to transfer LC. This means that a nominated bank or a bank which is specifically authorized by the issuing bank to make a transfer may choose not to comply with a request of the first beneficiary to transfer the LC. Or if that bank is willing to do the transfer, that bank may stipulate its own terms and conditions for transfer. With this background, let us understand further concept here. A transferable LC may be transferred in part to more than one second beneficiary, provided partial drawings or shipments are allowed. A transferred LC cannot be transferred at the request of second beneficiary to any subsequent beneficiary. The first beneficiary is not considered to be subsequent beneficiary. So let us understand the entire thing. Okay. So you are an exporter. You have received one transferable LC for amount 10,000 US dollar. So you are basically intermediate trader. Maybe you are a merchant trader. You do not have the, you can say that stock available with you. So what will you do? You will transfer part of this LC to the person who is the actual supplier of the goods. So here we have considered that actual supplier of the goods is basically B and you are A. You are the first beneficiary under transferable LC and B is the actual supplier of the goods and B will be called in this case second beneficiary. So it is possible that as per your request, transferring bank may transfer amount to the second beneficiary. In this example, I have taken transferable LC amount is $10,000 and as per your request, exporter request, first beneficiary request, transferring bank may transfer that LC for $9,000 to the actual supplier of the goods. Okay, so for this beneficiary, second beneficiary, this LC will be called as a transferred LC. So 9,000 is the transferred amount. Transferable LC value is 10,000. Whatever difference is there for 1,000 is the profit of this intermediate trader first beneficiary. Okay. Here we need to understand whether this second beneficiary can further transfer. No, that is not permitted. Second beneficiary cannot transfer the transferred LC to subsequent beneficiary. So for example, B, which is the second beneficiary, wants to procure the goods from C. Whether he can transfer this 9,000 to further beneficiary? No, that is not allowed. But we see here, first beneficiary is not considered to be a subsequent beneficiary. That means what? It is possible that second beneficiary can transfer back the entire LC amount of 9,000 to the first beneficiary. Now, we need to understand why this is there. So maybe it is possible that this merchant trader had received this LC for 10,000 and at that time, he was assured by this beneficiary, second beneficiary, that I will supply the goods for 9,000. No need to worry about that. So at the request of first beneficiary, transferring bank has transferred the amount of 9,000 to second beneficiary. But actually for any reason, second beneficiary is not able to supply the goods. Then what is the choice available with the merchant trader, who is the first beneficiary under transferable LC? He may ask second beneficiary to transfer back that amount to him so that A can get the $9,000 again. So now A can transfer it to further another second beneficiary from where he can procure the goods. Okay. So first line is basically a transferable LC may be transferred in part to more than one second beneficiary provided partial drawings or shipments are allowed. For example, if this transferable LC allows partial drawing or partial shipment, in that case, maybe there could be more than one second beneficiary. So let us understand this with this example. So total LC amount is basically, it is 10,000. So maybe one person is not able to supply the entire quantity of the goods. Maybe there are three actual supplier, three different actual suppliers are there. So first beneficiary can transfer part to all three. Okay. That is possible only when LC allows partial drawings or shipment. Otherwise, this will not be allowed. Then only one second beneficiary will be there, right? So for example, B is one supplier, C is another supplier, D is another supplier. Maybe this LC has been transferred to B for 4,000, for C to 3,000, and D for 2,000. So all three will supply the goods under their transferred LC, and total amount transferred is basically 9,000. So that is possible. The only criteria, LC should allow, permit partial drawings or shipments. Okay. So with this, let us understand how does it work. So this is critical for us to understand each and every aspect of transferable LC. So we discussed about the brief about the transferable LC. Now let us understand this carefully. So how this transaction will start? Yes, actual buyer will be there. Okay. And maybe merchant trader, intermediate trader is there. They will have, and what this intermediate trader will do, he will find one supplier of the goods. Okay. So applicant and this intermediate trader conclude their individual contract, that is sales contract. And in this sales contract, agree that applicant will request his bank for issuance of LC that is transferable. And since goods need to be supplied by this merchant trader is basically first beneficiary under transferable LC. So what he will do, maybe he has to do the purchase agreement or sale agreement, you can say, with the actual supplier of the goods. Okay. So it is in middle. It is a middleman, trader. So if sale contract says that, okay, fine, this applicant, importer, buyer is agreed to issue transferable LC in favor of first beneficiary. So he will request to its bank for issuance of LC. And issuing bank, if they have already sanctioned LC limit to this buyer, and LC application request letter is in order, then what this issuing bank will do? Issuing bank will check if everything is okay, then issuing bank will issue transferable LC if limit is available. So this issuing bank issues transferable LC, which will be advised to the first beneficiary by advising bank. Okay. So here it comes advising bank. So advising bank can be named as a transferring bank, or if LC is has got a nominated bank, that nominated bank is authorized to do the transfer role of transferring bank. We have understood the concept. So now this LC has been advised to the first beneficiary. So for example, this beneficiary has got transferable LC for $10,000. So no issue, but this LC need to be transferred now. So what this first beneficiary will do, he will request its transferring bank to transfer part of the LC. For example, we have taken 9,000 to this second beneficiary. So at the request of first beneficiary, transferring bank, if they are agreed to do the transfer, makes the transfer part of the LC. For example, $9,000 to the second beneficiary, and it will be advised through second beneficiary's bank. We need to understand the concept that a bank this bank, transferring bank, is under no obligation to transfer a LC except to the extent and in the manner expressly consented to by this bank. So transferring bank has a discretion whether they want to do the transfer or not. So we need to remember one thing. As an exporter, we have received the transferable LC does not mean that definitely transferring bank will transfer that LC. That discretion lies with the transferring bank, whether they want to do the transfer or not. And even if they agree to transfer the LC, they can put their own condition on what condition they are agreed to transfer that LC, right? So transferring transferring bank has transferred that LC. Now that LC has been advised to second beneficiary. Okay, so second beneficiary has received the LC, which is nothing but transferred LC. And based on this transferred LC, second beneficiary will ship the goods. Okay, and second beneficiary will present the documents to his bank, maybe second beneficiary's bank only. Okay, so second beneficiary prepares the documents as per the transferred LC, which he has received, and he will present the documents to his bank, and ultimately those documents will be forwarded to the transferring bank. This is mandatory that second beneficiary need to present or send the document to the transferring bank. Why this is mandatory? This is as per UCP. Okay, so what is the rights of the first beneficiary? So since this transferred LC value was 9,000, so maybe invoice is there for 9,000, bill of lading is there, maybe certificate of origin is there, maybe packing list is there, maybe draft also is there. Okay, so draft amount will be 9,000, invoice amount will be 9,000 only. Transferable LC value is 10,000. So first beneficiary has got the right to substitute the invoice and draft presented by the second beneficiary. So what transferring bank will do, once they receive the documents from second beneficiary, they will approach or intimate the first beneficiary that please come and replace or substitute the draft, if any, and invoice presented by the second beneficiary with your invoice and with your draft. So first beneficiary will prepare his own invoice for entire amount of transferable LC, $10,000. And if draft is needed under LC, then draft also will be prepared for $10,000 by the first beneficiary. And what transferring bank will do? Transferring bank will simply substitute invoice and draft submitted by the first beneficiary with the draft and invoice of second beneficiary. All other documents will remain the same. Bill of lading, packing list, certificate of origin, all those documents will remain the same. Only two documents will be substituted by the transferring bank. So now we have got the documents received from the second beneficiary, and invoice and draft submitted by the second beneficiary has been replaced by the invoice and draft of the first beneficiary. An entire set of documents will be forwarded to the issuing bank. So once issuing bank receives the documents, what they will do? They will examine the documents as per UCP, and if documents are complying, they will simply honor it. They will give the documents to the applicant. Applicant will take the delivery of the goods from the carrier, and they will debit their account. Even if there is no sufficient balance, issuing bank will remit the fund to the transferring bank. Now, transferring bank has received entire amount of $10,000. What they are supposed to do now? They have received documents from second beneficiary for $9,000. That means what? Only 1,000 need to be given to this first beneficiary. Okay. So transferring bank will give only profit part of $1,000 to the first beneficiary and will remit $9,000 to second beneficiary through its bank. And ultimately, second beneficiary will be able to get the payment for his supply under transferred LC $9,000. So 1,000 will be given to first beneficiary and second beneficiary will receive the payment for $9,000 against the transferred LC. So this is the mechanism of transferable LC, right? So whatever I have discussed, I have jotted down here. So I will not repeat the same. Okay. So everything has been explained to you related to that. Okay. So I am skipping this part. MT720 message is used by transferring bank to advise the transfer of LC to the bank advising credit to the second beneficiary. So if we have understood the mechanism, how it works, let us go and understand why there is a need for a transferable LC. That is a question that is critical one. So basically what will happen in normal case, if you are an exporter and you are also a manufacturer, then there is no need for transferable LC. So you will receive the LC, you will become beneficiary of the LC. What you will do? You will procure the material, you will manufacture the material, you will ship the material, and you will present the documents under LC to the bank. Okay, that is the normal practice usually we expect. So LC is issued in favor of the seller who ships the goods and claim payment under LC. It is typically applicable when seller is the manufacturer of the goods. But when the buyer does business with an intermediate trader, merchant trader, who obtains the goods from another source or even several other sources, in this case, the intermediate trader will have to buy the goods before supplying them to the buyer. But the challenge is, these intermediate traders operate on a very narrow margin. They do not carry any stock of goods and they will have very limited working capital. If working capital is there, sufficient fund is there, maybe with that, intermediate trader may procure the goods and supply those goods to the applicant. But in case of intermediate traders, since they will have very limited working capital, they will not have the goods, then what is the choice available for these intermediate trader, merchant traders? Therefore, merchant traders seek a means of finance for their purchase without engaging their own resources. In that reference, transferable LC meets the above needs, as LC issued in favor of the intermediate trader can be used as a means of paying the source from which the trader obtains the goods. So if transferable LC has been received by the intermediate trader can use that LC to source the goods from the supplier. Trader does not have to deploy their own working capital. They do not have to have working capital limit with any of the bank. They do not have to carry the stock. So transferable LC is a means available for the trader to procure the goods. So under a transferable LC, final buyer means applicant of the LC instructs its bank to issue a LC in a transferable form in favor of the intermediate trader from whom the goods are bought. So once transferable LC has been issued, beneficiary of the transferable LC will be called as first beneficiary. Now, first beneficiary, who is the intermediate trader, has the right to request the bank to transfer full amount of LC or part amount of LC to the actual supplier of the goods. Okay. So this enables the intermediate traders to request the bank at which the LC is available to transfer it in whole or in part to the trader supplier. So trader supplier means actual supplier of the goods, who will be known as second beneficiary. So it is mentioned whether entire amount can be transferred. Yes, if transferable LC amount is 10,000, whether it is possible that entire amount 10,000 can be transferred to second beneficiary. Yes, it is possible. Then question will be asked that then what is the profit margin for the first beneficiary. Maybe there is a separate agreement other than LC. He may get the amount from the applicant. That is totally outside the purview, but it is possible that entire amount also can be transferred to the second beneficiary. Okay, and we have understood the concept that if partial shipment and partial drawings are allowed, then maybe LC can be transferred to more than one second beneficiary. The value of the part of LC which has been transferred to second beneficiary represents the price that the trader is paying for the goods. So 9,000 amount has been transferred, means $9,000 is the cost of goods for the trader. The balance represents the trader's profit or margin. So LC, transferable LC amount is $10,000. Cost of the goods is $9,000. So 1,000 is the profit for the trader under this transaction. So trader could be acting as an agent of the buyer. That is possible in many of the cases. The agent could be in a better position than the buyer to identify the right source of supply in terms of integrity of seller, quality of goods, adherence to schedule, etc. So it is possible many times the question will come that why applicant will not directly issue LC in favor of actual supplier of the goods. Because we need to understand that many of the time trader will be actual supplier will be based in a different country and actual importer will be, applicant of the LC will be based in different country, right? So maybe that applicant will not be able to find which is the right source of supply of the goods. So maybe he will be dependent on one trader, agent. So that's why this transferable LC will come into the picture. The agent not only identifies the right sources, but also takes care of the procedures and formalities at the supplier's end. So applicant need not have to negotiate with the supplier of the goods. So headache of dealing with so many second suppliers, second beneficiaries or actual suppliers will be on the trader. Trader will take care each and every part of that. So applicant need not have to worry from where actually goods will be procured by the trader. Otherwise, he only has to do homework. And moreover, it is possible that if the requirement is big, maybe 100 metric ton, and there is no single supplier who can cater to the need of the applicant and supply 100 metric ton. So in that case, maybe that applicant, importer need to issue or deal with so many suppliers to get the total quantity. So in that case, agent or trader will come into the picture who will assure the applicant, or you can say importer, that don't worry, I will manage the 100 metric ton. From where I will manage, it is my responsibility. You just get me the transferable LC. So for a single beneficiary may not be in a position to meet the entire requirement of the buyer. Therefore, buyer has to deal with multiple beneficiaries. Transferable LC helps the buyer to avoid the pain of dealing with several beneficiaries as the agent takes care of the same. So this is why there is a need for transferable LC for applicant, importer. So many of the time, this question will definitely come into mind. Why a trader intentionally will request his bank for issuance of transferable LC? Why can't this importer directly request his bank for issuance of LC in favor of supplier of the goods? That is the reason. Maybe one supplier is not be able to supply the entire quantity. Therefore, that importer need to deal with so many supplier of the goods, and that is a pain area for the applicant, importer. So he would not like to do that. Maybe one middleman is there who will take care of the various suppliers, and LC need to be issued in favor of middleman. So that is how this will go. Okay. So what is the advantage of transferable LC? Yes, there are advantages. So transferable LC is beneficial for the trader middleman, merchant trader, you can say, first beneficiary, because it allows the trader to provide supplier of the goods LC as a security without using trader's own banking facility. Otherwise, in normal case, trader as a beneficiary of the LC, from where he would procure the goods to supply under LC. Very difficult. He has to deploy his own fund. But here is the case, transferable LC helps the trader that LC can be transferred to second beneficiary who will be the actual supplier of the goods, and he did not have to deploy their own working capital or banking facility. He did not have to use that. So it provides security to the trader's supplier, second beneficiary, for payment because part of the LC itself is transferred to each supplier. So what is the benefit for the second beneficiary? For second beneficiary, whatever amount they have received under transferred LC is nothing but LC only. If second beneficiary, for example, has received transferred LC value US dollar 9,000, if complying presentation has been made by the second beneficiary, his payment is assured. So for second beneficiary, it is a very comfort, or you can say it works like a security given by the issuing bank, that if goods have been shipped as per transferred LC and documents have been presented, his payment is assured by the bank. So each supplier, maybe LC had been transferred to more than one second beneficiary, B, C, D, as in previous example we had seen. Each supplier obtains the right to claim payment directly from the bank at which its portion of the LC is available against the presentation of complying presentation. So maybe there are 3 second beneficiaries. B has got transferred LC value 4,000. C has got US dollar 3,000, like that. Or maybe E is there, or D is there, US dollar 2,000. Each second beneficiary will have the similar protection available under their own transferred LC. If they are able to present documents which are complying, then their payment is assured. Thus, supply of the goods obtains a large measure of control over the payment procedure. That is the advantage of transferable LC. So we have understood that it is beneficial for the applicant, why applicant would like to go for transferable LC. And obviously it is good for the intermediate trader because he did not have to deploy the fund for procurement of raw material. And it is good for the supplier of the goods also because they are assured under transferred LC about their payment. Fine. So we need to understand few more concepts about transferable LC. So you are the beneficiary of the transferable LC. So you have received LC for US dollar 10,000. Now you want that LC to be transferred for 9,000 to the actual supplier of the goods. So what are the things you can change in the transferable LC? Okay. So basically this transferable LC will be transferred to second beneficiary for US dollar 10,000. Sorry, 9,000, for example, 1,000 is your profit. So what are the things you can change and what are the things you cannot change in the transferable LC? So let us understand this concept. What are the changes not allowed in UCP 600? So here, transferred LC must accurately reflect the terms and condition of the transferable LC, including confirmation, if any, with the exception of, that is mentioned in UCP article. That means what? All the terms and condition of the transferable LC will be there in transferred LC. You are not allowed to change any of the things except for whatever exceptions we are going to discuss. I have highlighted here in dark that including confirmation. That means what? It means that if transferable LC is confirmed, then transferred LC also need to be confirmed. All the terms and conditions which is mentioned in transferable LC should be there in transferred LC also. So transferred LC must accurately reflects the terms and condition of the transferable LC. But there are exceptions. So that means nothing is allowed to change in transferred LC except for the following. So what are the things which are allowed to change in transferable LC? UCP permits the changes allowed are basically here I have given amount of the LC, unit price, expiry date, period for presentation, latest shipment date or given period for shipment. These are the 5 items, any or all of which may be reduced or curtailed. So this is permitted under UCP article. So amount, for example, you have received LC amount of 10,000. It can be reduced or curtailed. It cannot be increased. These items cannot be increased. Please understand, changes are allowed only in these 5 items, and that too, these 5 items can be reduced or curtailed. 10,000 has been reduced in transferred LC, 9,000, that is permitted. For example, you are getting unit price as $10 per shirt. This 10 can be reduced to 9 per shirt for the actual supplier of the goods. So $1 per shirt is your margin part, right? Expiry date of the transferable LC, for example, if it is 30th June, can be reduced to 16 June. Or period for presentation, it is mentioned 21 days after the bill of or shipment date, documents need to be presented, can be reduced to, or it can remain the same also, to 15 days. Or latest date of shipment as per transferable LC, if it is 9th June, can be reduced to 1st June in transferred LC. That means what? For second beneficiary, this will be mentioned in the transferred LC. So basically for second beneficiary in transferred LC, amount will be 9,000, unit price will be $9 per shirt, expiry date will be 16th June, period for presentation 15 days, latest shipment date 1st June. That means second beneficiary need to comply this. For you as a first beneficiary, intermediate trader, this will be the transferable LC need to be complied. This position, you need to understand these 5 items only can be reduced or curtailed. Apart from these, one more thing is there that is related to insurance. That is permitted to be increased. So 5 items can be curtailed or reduced. But for example, if this Incoterms is CIP or CIF, then in that case, seller is obligated to take the insurance. Maybe insurance document is one of the required document under field number 46A. Then insurance also will be there as one of the document. So insurance part, we need to understand that coverage part can be increased as far as UCP is concerned. So here we can see the percentage for which insurance cover must be affected may be increased to provide the amount of cover stipulated in the credit or these articles. So basically 5 items can be reduced or curtailed, and insurance cover may be increased. What does it mean? Let us understand this concept in more detail. In cases in which the goods are shipped on Incoterms such as CIP or CIF, the seller, means trader, beneficiary of transferable LC, is obligated to insure the goods against loss or damage during the transport movement. In case of insurance cover amount is not mentioned in LC, both the Incoterms and the UCP require cover equivalent at least 110% of CIP or CIP value of goods. So 110% insurance to be taken. For example, if it is stipulated in the transferable LC. So transferable LC says $10,000 US dollar amount. So if you want to take insurance, 110% means insurance cover should be $11,000 under transferable LC. But thing is that amount has been reduced in transferred LC. 10,000 has become now 9,000. So on transfer of LC with reduced amount, the percentage for which insurance cover must be affected may be increased to provide the amount of cover stipulated in the original LC or in the UCP. Thus, a higher percentage insurance cover may be required under the transferred LC in order to cover the amount of insurance required under the original transferable LC. So quickly we can see here how it works. So let us take one example, the same example, transferable LC value is $10,000. So 110% in insurance need to be covered. As a first beneficiary, you will need to ensure that insurance document cover is at least 11,000. That is nothing but 110% of this as per transferable LC. So what has happened that LC is transferred for 9,000. So if you stipulate this insurance of 110% only, second beneficiary will take the insurance amount of 110% of this amount, transferred LC amount. So second beneficiary will take the insurance of 9,900. If this insurance document has been received by the transferring bank and ultimately the same insurance document has been forwarded to the issuing bank will raise the discrepancies that amount is not $11,000. Okay, so there is a catch. So that will become a discrepancy. So how to get the transferable LC requirement of insurance of $11,000? So there is a formula. You apply this formula. Insurance amount required by the transferred LC amount into 122%. So basically what you need to do, you need to change this 110% to 122% so that second beneficiary, when he received transferred LC amount of 9,000, will take 122% and that will cover $11,000. So basically transferable LC amount 10,000. This is requirement of the transferable LC for the first beneficiary. LC transferred amount is 9,000. So put here 123% instead of 110%. In transferred LC, you put insurance cover should be 123%. So now there is no choice for the second beneficiary to take the insurance amount of this because 123% of this amount will be 11,000. So ultimately, as a first beneficiary, you have got the insurance cover of 11,000 by simply increasing the insurance percentage. Otherwise, it will be a case of discrepancies, right? So here you can observe similar, but in a better form. Okay, transferable LC, basically amount was 10,000. If you cover this 110% under transferable LC requirement, $11,000 insurance coverage should be there. That has been transferred for 9,000. If you put the insurance amount, insurance percentage same, then you will get the less insurance. So what you do, you increase this up to this 110% should be changed in transferred LC to 123% so that you get insurance coverage of 11,000. So this is basically permitted. This change is permitted under UCP. So 5 things you need to curtail or reduce. Insurance amount percentage you can increase if it is needed, not necessary because maybe LC does not ask for insurance. So there is no need. Few more changes you can do. The name of first beneficiary means intermediate trader may be substituted for that of the applicant. And this is something we need to understand clearly. So I have given one example, right? So here, this is the transferable LC. So beneficiary is based in Mumbai, okay? Sham Apparel Limited, okay? Applicant is based in South Africa. This is transferable LC. And this LC has been transferred to whom? Raja Cotton, Bangladesh. Okay. So basically, The name of first beneficiary may be substituted for that of the applicant in the transferred credit. Means when this LC, transferred LC has been received by actual supplier of the goods, Raja Cotton, Bangladesh, there you can observe here, applicant name has been replaced. Now applicant name is not Peter Shirt Limited, South Africa. Instead of that, applicant name is basically the beneficiary of the first, this beneficiary of the transferable LC. That is permitted. So this way, second beneficiary, who is the actual supplier of the goods, will not be able to know who is the actual importer. Because for him, Peter Shirt Limited is not there. Applicant is basically first beneficiary. That is permitted. Okay. So this is allowed. This is allowed. So important. And one more thing is there. If the name of the applicant is specifically required by the credit to appear in any document other than the invoice, such requirement must be reflected in the transfer credit. So if name of the applicant to be appear in invoice, no challenge. So whatever invoice this Raja Cotton Bangladesh will prepare will be replaced by the Sham Apparel Mumbai. Okay. So applicant will not know who has supplied the goods, because invoice will be from Sham Apparel for Peter Shirt Limited, South Africa. But if applicant name to appear in any of the document other than invoice, because only two documents will be substituted, that is draft, if any, and invoice. Other documents, whatever second beneficiary will present, will be forwarded to the issuing bank. So if applicant name to appear in any other document, then that will be challenge for the first beneficiary. For example, what is the requirement here? LC says, transferable LC says, full set clean bill of lading, mark notify applicant. Means bill of lading need to be issued in such a manner that notified party will be the applicant. Means Peter Shirt, South Africa, need to appear in bill of lading. Now, if this same line, if you copy and paste in a transferred LC, then what will happen that Raja Cotton, Bangladesh, when they will instruct the CHF to issue bill of lading, they will say that mark notify applicant. So in bill of lading, the name of Peter Shirt will not come, name of Sham Apparel Mumbai will come. And if that goes to issuing bank will raise the discrepancies, because the requirement under transferable LC was bill of lading to name Peter Shirt, South Africa. Now the challenge is this bill of lading cannot be changed by the first beneficiary. So there is no choice but to write like this: full set clean bill of lading, mark notify party, and here you need to put the original applicant name. So in this case, it will be very much visible for the second beneficiary, means actual supplier of the goods, who is the actually importer. Okay. So these are the changes allowed under UCP for transferable LC. So let us understand what is the rights and duty of first beneficiary given in UCP itself. Okay. So here we go. The first beneficiary has the right to substitute its own invoice and draft, if any, for those of a second beneficiary for an amount not in excess of that stipulated in the credit. And upon such substitution, the first beneficiary can draw under the credit for the difference, if any, between its invoice and the invoice of a second beneficiary. So this is the right given in UCP article for the first beneficiary. So first beneficiary has the right to substitute his own invoice and draft with second beneficiary's invoice and draft. So documents have been received by the transferring bank, right? Second beneficiary had presented the documents to his bank, and maybe now documents have been received by the transferring bank. So transferring bank has intimated the first beneficiary, please replace the existing second beneficiary's draft and invoice with yours. So second beneficiary's draft and invoice will be for how much amount? Only $9,000. So what first beneficiary has got the right to prepare his own invoice for $10,000 and draft also for $10,000. And what transferring bank will do? Transferring bank will substitute first beneficiary's draft for $10,000 with second beneficiary's draft and invoice for $9,000, and all the rest documents other than invoice and draft, second beneficiary's documents only will be used. Okay. Now there is a catch. What is the catch? Catch is basically once the second beneficiary receives the goods and presents a complying documents under transferred LC, he is entitled to receive the payment for $9,000 for in this example, right? Therefore, UCP 600 Article 38(1) places an obligation on the first beneficiary to submit its substitute documents on first demand. Failure to do so entitles the transferring bank to present the documents to the second beneficiary of the second beneficiary to the issuing bank without further regard or responsibility to the first beneficiary. So transferring bank has already intimated the first beneficiary, please come with your invoice and draft so that we can send that entire set of documents after substitution to the issuing bank, but first beneficiary does not respond. So there is a penalty, you can say, indirectly imposed on the first beneficiary. What is that? If the first beneficiary is to present its own invoice and draft, if any, but fails to do so on first demand, or if the invoice presented by the first beneficiary create discrepancies that did not exist in the presentation made by the second beneficiary and the first beneficiary fails to correct them on first demand, in that case, transferring bank has the right to present the documents as received from the second beneficiary to the issuing bank without further responsibility to the first beneficiary. So first beneficiary has been intimated by the transferring bank to submit his own invoice and draft, but first beneficiary fails to submit. Or maybe first beneficiary has submitted the invoice and draft which are discrepant, and those discrepancies are not there in second beneficiary's invoice and draft. And transferring bank has requested that please correct the discrepancies in your invoice and draft, but first beneficiary failed to correct those discrepancies on first demand. Then what is the choice left with the transferring bank? Transferring bank has the right now to present the document as it is received from the second beneficiary. Means transferring bank will forward the documents for only $9,000 to the issuing bank without further responsibility to the first beneficiary. That means what? Issuing bank has issued the transferable LC for 10,000. Now they have received the documents for 9,000 and all documents belong to second beneficiary. Whether issuing bank will raise the discrepancies? No, they will not raise the discrepancies because they are aware it is a case of transferable LC, and maybe first beneficiary has not been able to present invoice and draft which are complying. Therefore, transferring bank has forwarded the entire set of documents received from the second beneficiary to the issuing bank. So how much amount issuing bank would pay? Only 9,000. So in that case, maybe this intermediate trader or first beneficiary of the transferable LC will not be able to get his profit margin. Therefore, it is important for the trader who is the beneficiary of the transferable LC to ensure whenever he has been intimated by the transferring bank to substitute or invoice and draft with his own, should be able to present a complying invoice and draft for entire LC amount, transferable LC amount for $10,000, so that issuing bank should remit the $10,000. Out of $10,000, 9,000 will be remitted to the second beneficiary by the transferring bank, and $1,000 will be given to the first beneficiary. Okay. So whether there is a charge for this? Yes, there is a charge. So LC issuing charge obviously applicant will bear. Okay. But what about the transferring bank charge? Usually it will be borne by the first beneficiary. So there is UCP article, it is mentioned there. Unless otherwise agreed at the time of transfer, all charges such as commission, fees, cost, or expense incurred in respect of a transfer must be paid by the first beneficiary. So this is critical because payment of charges is one of the conditions that has to be agreed before a bank transfers a LC. Payment of charges by the first beneficiary as the party requesting a transfer constitute a widely accepted practice. Most of the cases, first beneficiary only will be paying the charges of the transferring bank. And this is also a protection for a transferring bank, which in most cases will not have a direct relationship with the second beneficiary. So, is there any risk involved in transferable LC? Let us understand those risks also. Okay. Yes, there are risks, but risk for whom? Let us understand. A transferable LC can involve extra risk and cost for the original applicant, the buyer for which the goods are destined. In particular, it accepts the risk of receiving goods from a third party whom it may not know and with whom there may have been no previous business dealings. So that is the risk applicant importer carries in this transaction, because that applicant knows only the intermediate trader from where actually goods will be procured. Applicant will not be able to know. So that is the risk applicant carries. Moreover, once LC is transferred, more parties are involved. This means that the more documents have to be examined and possibly mailed twice before they reach the issuing bank. So from, you can say, second beneficiaries will present the documents to his bank, second beneficiary's bank will forward the documents to the transferring bank. So transferring bank, after replacing the first beneficiary's draft and invoice, will forward the documents to the issuing bank. So this increases the risk of delay, loss, or error along the way. The greater difficulties involved in controlling the operation under a transferable LC may also increase the risk of fraud. A large part of this risk ultimately falls on the original applicant, who is the actual importer, which undertakes to reimburse the issuing bank provided that a complying presentation has been made. So basically, applicant takes a lot of risk in this. Additional costs arise because of the difference between the price paid by the trader and the price that the trader charges to the applicant. So basically, 1,000 profit has been made in this transaction by the trader. That means what? Applicant has to bear that cost also. So actual cost of goods are basically $9,000, which trader has paid to the second beneficiary under transfer LC ultimately, and applicant has paid $10,000 for the same quality of goods. It can prove difficult to monitor advices of amendments to transferable LC and the transferred LC through the chain of applicant, the first beneficiary, and one or more second beneficiaries. The monitoring of the necessary consent might also cause concern. So if there is no amendment, then maybe it is manageable. But what if LC has been transferred to more than one second beneficiary? So LC has been transferred to B, C, D. Now original LC has been amended, means transferable LC has been amended. Whether those amendment in transferable LC need to be reflected in transferred LC, that need to be factored. And if transferred LC has been amended for B, C, D, different second beneficiary, please understand LC is irrevocable. Means once it is issued, cannot be cancelled or amended without the consent of beneficiary. So once transferred LC has been received by second beneficiary B, C, D, any amendment in those transferred LC will require the consent of second beneficiaries B, C, D. What if two decided, B and C decides that, okay, we are okay with the amendment? What if D says, I'm not okay with the amendment? So for those second beneficiaries who have consented the amendment, LC will get modified, transferred LC will get modified. The second beneficiary who has not given consent for him, original transferred LC will remain in force. So that aspect need to be considered. Okay. The bank of the second beneficiary might dispatch documents directly to the issuing bank, causing problem for the transferring bank and first beneficiary. So in rare circumstances, it is possible due to some reason, maybe that second beneficiary's bank has not forwarded the documents to the transferring bank as per UCP, but has directly forwarded the documents of second beneficiary to the issuing bank. Okay, so that risk is there. So these are few of the risks involved in transferable LC. So we have discussed each and every aspect of transferable LC. So let us go and understand the concept of back-to-back LC. So if you have got the transferable LC, whatever we have discussed, you can do the transaction based on that. But many of the time, you may not get the transferable LC. Or you may think that whatever changes need to be advised to the supplier of the goods, UCP does not allow that. Means only 5 items can be curtailed or reduced. We have seen that amount, unit price, shipment date, and all those things, right? But you need more. Then you need to go for this type of a structure, that is back-to-back LC. Let us understand this first. Okay. So back-to-back LC. So in this, what will happen that LC used by an agent or trader when acting as a middleman between the supplier and the final buyer, with the LC issued in its favor, serving as part or full security for the issuance of LC issued in favor of the supplier. So you have received, you are the merchant trader, you are the intermediate trader, you are the middleman. You have received one LC from the issuing bank. Now, what you have to do, you have to ship the goods under LC and present the documents to get the payment under LC. But you do not have sufficient fund available to procure the material. And it is not a transferable LC. You cannot transfer that LC to second beneficiary. Second beneficiary means supplier of the goods. Then what to do? You may request the bank which has advised the LC that I have received LC for $10,000. I need to procure the goods for $9,000 from B. Please issue a separate LC on behalf of me to the supplier of the goods. So if advising bank agrees to issue LC based on the parent LC which you have received, then you will become applicant of the child LC. Advising bank will issue the LC in favor of the supplier. So that is the concept. So here, two LCs are involved. The same LC is not transferred. Here, two different LCs are involved. One LC which you as a middleman have received, as a beneficiary of the LC have received from the issuing bank, means issuing bank has issued the LC on behalf of the actual buyer. That is one LC. We will call that LC as a parent LC. On the basis of the parent LC, advising bank may issue another LC in favor of the actual supplier of the goods, where this middleman will be the applicant. Okay. So a back-to-back LC is normally issued instead of a transferable LC due to the following reason. When the agent or trader wishes to change more than the details then are permitted in UCP Article 38G, and or when the agent or trader does not want the supplier to see that the LC it receives is a byproduct of a transferable LC, and or when the agent or trader does not want the applicant to know the name of the supplier, and or when the payment terms differ between the two contracts agreed by the agent or trader with the buyer and seller. There comes the role of this concept back-to-back LC. Let us understand how does it work, okay? So in these circumstances, a back-to-back LC operation may provide an acceptable alternative. So in this case, two different separate LC are issued. First, we will call which the middleman has received from the buyer. We will call it as a master LC, which where the agent or middleman or trader will be the beneficiary, master LC. Based on this master LC, another LC will be issued by bank of trader, which we will call it, so basically child LC. So back-to-back LC will be issued by the, you can say, bank of trader. Trader's bank will issue this back-to-back LC in favor of the actual supplier. Okay. The primary source of repayment for the issuing bank of back-to-back LC is often linked to the matching of the payment terms under each LC. So maybe parent LC says $10,000 goods need to be supplied. So if bank agrees to issue back-to-back LC based on the parent LC, then bank will match the terms and condition which is mentioned in the parent LC in their own LC. Okay. Maybe that amount 10,000 will be reduced and difference will be the profit for the middleman. Okay. So LCA is issued in favor of a trader at the request of the ultimate buyer applicant, and trader uses this LCA, which is a parent LC, as a means by which to request a bank, usually the advising or confirming bank of LCA, to issue a separate LC, LCB on its behalf in favor of the supplier of the goods. So for LCB, child LC, this middleman will become applicant of that. So there are two banks involved in this. One is the issuing bank of LCA. Another bank is basically issuing bank of LCB. There are two separate LC involved in this transaction. So when LCB is issued, it is referred to as a back-to-back LC. This is because the advising or confirming bank of LCA issues LCB on the back of LCA. It is commonly referred to as the child LC or baby LC also. Okay. So the two LCs are entirely separate, and each issuing bank is liable on its own undertaking. There is therefore no need for an UCP article for this back-to-back LC. And for your information, as far as the word back-to-back LC is concerned, it is not mentioned in UCP 600. So since two LCs are involved, both the LC will be governed under UCP 600. And for that, there is no separate UCP article because these both the LCs are normal commercial LC, and all the rules of UCP will be applicable in both the LCs. Okay, parent LC and child LCs. So documents received, documents from LCB will often be used in part to form the presentation under LCA. So that is what the nature of this type of LC transaction. The trader is obligated to pay the bank that issued LCB on its behalf, irrespective of whether proceeds are obtained under LCA, because there are two banks. So once complying presentation has been made under child LC, LCB, what traders bank as an issuing bank of child LC need to do? If compliant presentation has been made, they will simply honor it. Whether trader who is the applicant of the child LC gets the payment under parent LC or not as a beneficiary. So there is more risk for trader. How? What if trader does not get the amount for any reason under parent LC, but he has to reimburse the issuing bank of child LC? And issuing bank of child LC also carries more risk. Why and how? Because these are two different LCs. If compliant presentation has been made to child LC issuing bank, child LC issuing bank will simply honor it. They need to make the payment to the beneficiary of child LC. But for any reason, if payment does not come or documents are non-compliant for parent LC, then maybe they will not get the fund under parent LC, right? So LCA, parent LC, does not provide security to the bank that issued LCB. LCA merely evidences the means of payment that may be forthcoming to meet the payment obligation under LCB. Accordingly, LCA, parent LC, provides comfort to the bank that issued child LC, LCB, rather than security. So we need to understand, therefore, bank would be hesitant to issue back-to-back LC. Maybe bank may agree to go back-to-back LC. However, depending on the assessment of the advising or confirming bank, LCA, parent LC, may be considered as part or full security for the issuance of child LC, LCB. If it forms part of the security, the advising or confirming bank will look for additional security from the trader, such as a cash deposit or a bank guarantee, to provide the additional support that it requires from the issuance of back-to-back LC. So even if bank agrees to issue back-to-back LC, they need to do entire LC assessment, LC limit assessment they need to do. They will ask the balance sheet of the trader. They will require the comfort in the form of collateral before they sanction the LC limit to the trader. And under that LC limit only, traders bank will issue LC, child LC, or back-to-back LC. So not only if you have got the, you can say, parent LC, bank usually will hesitate to issue back-to-back LC only based on the parent LC. They may require comfort more than that. Okay, so that is critical for us to understand. So let us understand how does it work. So similar type of work is there, but slight different. So there is a buyer and there is a trader. Now this trader is basically beneficiary of parent LC, LCA. And this trader only is the applicant of child LC, LCB. Okay. So here is the actual supplier of the goods. Okay. So this trader, middleman, will have agreement with both. Okay. So here he will receive the LC from ultimate buyer. Okay. So sales contract he will do. And obviously this purchase or sales contract with the supplier of goods. Like in transferable LC, this is how the transaction, but nature is different. Okay. So if sell contracts indicates that this applicant would make the payment using LC mechanism, what will happen that applicant will request his bank for issuance of LC. Okay, normal LC, commercial LC in favor of this trader. So issuing bank, if limit is there and LC application request letter is in order, what they will do, they will issue the LC in favor of trader. So trader will become beneficiary of the parent LCA. Okay, so that LC will be advised. And now this beneficiary, trader, middleman, has received the LC. So one part is closed. Now, what this beneficiary will do, beneficiary may request the advising bank itself, that though it is not a transferable LC, but this LC we have received, please issue based on this LC a back-to-back LC in favor of the actual supplier of the goods. Okay. So if the request comes and if advising bank agrees to issue back-to-back LC based on the whatever comfort they may require from the beneficiary or middleman. So what this advising bank will do, advising bank will issue LCB. So for LCB means child LC, this bank will become issuing bank. Okay. So a separate LC will be issued to second beneficiary. Okay. So LCB back-to-back LC is transmitted in favor of actual supplier of the goods, and ultimately this LC will be received by the supplier of goods. So basically you can say here there are two different LC. One is LCA issued by this bank. One is LCB child LC issued by this bank. Okay. Different applicant. Here for this LC, actual buyer is the applicant, and for this child LC, middleman is the applicant. Okay. So now this beneficiary of this child LC, back-to-back LC, has received the LC, normal LC, commercial LC, right? So based on that, what he will do, he will ship the goods and present the documents to his bank. And if documents are complying, what this issuing bank will do? Issuing bank must order a compliant presentation. So it is possible that it is a case of side payment, then payment will be made to this supplier. So LCB chapter is closed, child LC. That is the risk beneficiary as well as this bank carries. So payment has been made. So now they need to ensure that documents are complying for this issuing bank also. So whatever documents need to be changed will be changed by the trader, and ultimately all the set of documents will be forwarded by this bank to the issuing bank. And if documents are complying, then parent LC issuing bank will simply honor it. Documents will be given to the ultimate buyer and payment will be made to the beneficiary's bank, and ultimately beneficiary will get the payment. Okay. So this is the mechanism of back-to-back LC. So two LC, different LCs have been issued by two different banks where two different applicants are there. So here middleman will act as a beneficiary of parent LC and middleman will act as an applicant of child LC. Okay. This is not a case of transferable LC. Okay. But this type of transaction is also possible. But please remember, back-to-back LC is not defined or not mentioned in any of the UCP article, and both the LC will be governed under UCP 600 like any of the commercial LCs, right? So what are the similarities between both type of transaction, transferable LC and back-to-back LC? Few of the similarities are there. Yes, similarities are there. Both types of LCs involve a middleman as a seller, means ultimate buyer does not deal directly with the actual supplier of the goods. Both types of LCs involve the substitution of documents by intermediate traders, middlemen received from supplier of the goods. So these are the nature you will find in both type of transaction, transferable LC as well as back-to-back LC also. Okay. So the critical part is what is the difference, main difference between transferable LC and back-to-back LC. Not many differences, right? Nature itself is a different. Okay. So we will try to understand so that you can fix that, okay, these are the main difference between transferable LC and back-to-back LC. Here we go. Transferable LC enables the beneficiary to transfer the rights and obligation of the transferable LC, which is not in case of back-to-back LC transactions where two separate independent LCs are involved. So if you are able to recall, in case of transferable LC, when part of the LC was transferred, 10,000 was transferable LC, it was transferred for 9,000. Actually, second beneficiary had shipped the goods as per literally terms and condition of the transferable LC only. Okay. So obligation also was transferred in case of transferable LC. first beneficiary under transferable LC did not do anything other than substitution of invoice and draft. That's all. And managing the entire thing. But in case of back-to-back LC, since it is a two different LCs, once documents are received, goods are received, trader need to do the performance under LC also, because as a beneficiary of parent LC, he has to perform. He is to ensure goods are shipped as per the parent LC and documents are presented as per parent LC. So basically, that is the major difference. Okay, obligation remains with the trader. In case of transferable LC, rights and obligation both are transferred to second beneficiary. Next difference, you can say that the second beneficiary, which is the supplier of the goods of a transferable LC, is formally recognized by the UCP 600, but there is no mention of word back-to-back LC in UCP 600. However, both the wholly independent LCs under back-to-back LC transactions will be governed as per UCP 600 like any other commercial LCs. So, second beneficiary word is mentioned in UCP 600 in case of UCP Article 38, means second beneficiary is recognized under UCP, but that is not in case of back-to-back LC. In fact, the word back-to-back is also not there in UCP 600. We need to understand. Then how these will be governed under UCP? Yes, both are basically separate independent LCs subject to UCP 600. So all the UCP article will be applicable for both LC involved in back-to-back LC transaction. In case of transferable LC, the transferred LC, which second beneficiary has received, okay, transferred LC derives not only its existence from the transferable LC, from which it receives its terms and condition, except for the permitted exception. 5 items we had seen can be curtailed or reduced, or insurance coverage can be increased, but also its utilization. Whereas in back-to-back LC transactions, there are two wholly independent LCs with wholly independent issuing banks undertaking. So basically, we have discussed that in case of transferred LC, whatever terms and conditions are there, all should remain as per transferable LC, except for few 5 items which can be curtailed or reduced, or insurance amount can be increased. Otherwise, all the terms and conditions of the transferable LC will be there in transferred LC. That means what? Second beneficiary literally has to comply not only with the transferred LC terms and condition, but the terms and condition of the transferable LC also. And once that is done by the second beneficiary once does the presentation which are complying, second beneficiary is entitled to get the payment under transferred LC. So utilization also, you can say that it derives from the literally transferable LC, because we have seen that condition that in case of first beneficiary fails to substitute its own invoice and drafts on first demand, then you can say that transferring bank may simply forward the documents received from the second beneficiary to the issuing bank, and issuing bank, if finds the documents are compliant, then they will make the payment to the second beneficiary. But in case of LC, back-to-back LC, these are two different bank involved as an issuing bank. So maybe compliant presentation has been made to child LC, but it is possible that documents are non-compliant for the parent LC. Maybe payment are not received under parent LC. That risk is there. Therefore, under transferable LC, the issuing bank will remain obligated to the second beneficiary of the transferred LC, whereas in case of back-to-back LC, each LC is separate, wholly independent LC. The original LC, means master LC, issuing bank is not obligated to beneficiary of back-to-back LC. So please remember the concept that ultimately, if issuing bank of transferable LC receives the documents pertain to second beneficiary from the reimbursing bank, then they will simply honor if documents are compliant. But parent LC issuing bank will not honor any of the document received from the beneficiary or back-to-back LC. Okay, so this is the difference. Whenever a back-to-back LC is issued, original beneficiary's LC line will get blocked being an applicant of back-to-back LC. Whereas in case of transferable LC, it will not happen as no fresh LC will be issued. Okay, so if you are a trader, you have got the transferable LC. If you request your bank for transfer part of that, if that bank transfers, they are not going to block your limit. For that, you do not have to have LC limit with the transferring bank. But in case of back-to-back LC transaction, as a trader or intermediate trader, being an applicant of the child LC, you need to have LC limit sanctioned by the bank. Otherwise, that child LC will not be issued by any bank. Next difference is, as an applicant of back-to-back LC, the beneficiary carries more risk compared to the transferable LC as first beneficiary. In fact, the bank who issues back-to-back LC also bears more risk compared to transferring bank who transfers the transferable LC. So as an exporter, given the choice, go for transferable LC because you do not have to worry about making the payment as an applicant because you are the beneficiary, first beneficiary of the transferable LC. Okay, you are not the applicant in case of transferable LC. But in case of back-to-back LC, you are the applicant of back-to-back LC. Applicant means definitely once order is done by your issuing bank, I mean your bank who has issued the LC will get the reimbursement by debiting your account. Whether you get payment under parent LC or not, they need to debit your account. Okay, so maybe they will require sufficient fund. You will be asked by the bank who has issued the back-to-back LC to keep the fund available with them, or whatever security you would have given to that bank to make them feel secure about the entire transaction. So as a beneficiary, middleman, you carry more risk in back-to-back LC transactions than transferring bank, and bank also carries more risk in back-to-back LC transactions because they take the undertaking. What undertaking? When they issue the LC as an issuing bank of back-to-back LC, they undertake to, they give irrevocable undertaking to the beneficiary that if compliant presentation has been made to them, they will honor it. So once they have received the compliant presentation, they have honored. Another side, maybe under parent LC, they are not able to get the payment from the issuing bank due to non-compliant of the document. But that will not be there in transferable LC case. Except for invoice and draft, all the documents of a transferred LC will be the same as transferable LC, which may not be the case with back-to-back LC as there will be two separate wholly independent LC involved. So we have seen that only draft and invoice are allowed to be substituted in case of transferable LC by the first beneficiary. Other documents would be pertain to only second beneficiary. But in case of back-to-back transaction, literally it could be more than draft and invoice. Not many other documents also will be used by the middleman as a beneficiary of the parent LC. Okay, so that is the critical difference also. So under transferable LC, second beneficiary has to literally comply with the terms and condition of the transferable LC for payment. That is what we have seen. Because if second beneficiary is not able to present complying documents as per transferable LC, how? Because all the terms and condition remains the same in transferred LC also. So if second beneficiary has complied with the terms and condition of transferred LC, means second beneficiary has complied the terms and condition of the transferable LC also. Okay, and he'll be entitled to get the payment from the issuing bank. So we need to remember that the first beneficiary will only claim his profit part by exercising the right to substitute its invoice and draft under this. If the first beneficiary fails to substitute complying invoice or draft on time, the transferring bank has the right to present the documents as received from the second beneficiary to the issuing bank without further responsibility to the first beneficiary. So literally, second beneficiary, if has been able to present complying presentation, will get the payment from the issuing bank in any case, whether first beneficiary presents his own draft or invoice or not. There is no mention of back-to-back LC transaction in LC UCP 600. Beneficiary will claim its payment under back-to-back LC like any other commercial LC. This is the last one, you can say, difference between transferable LC and back-to-back LC. From the accounting point of view, technically, only one entry, that is profit part, in case of transferable LC should be there in case of transferable LC in the book of trader middleman. And that entry will be only $1,000, because though invoice was raised technically, 9,000 was given by the transferring bank to whom? Second beneficiary, and only 1,000 was given to traders, beneficiaries of transferable LC. But in case of back-to-back LC transaction, there will be two transaction entries in the book of trader. One credit entry for the entire original parent LC amount as a beneficiary, and another will be debit entry for the back-to-back LC amount as an applicant when amount will be debited for child LC. Okay, so these are the main difference between transferable LC and back-to-back LC. So with this, I have concluded both the part of today's presentation, transferable LC and back-to-back LC, and this is the last slide. And this is my contact details. If somebody wants more information related to transferable LC, back-to-back LC, you are free to write to me. You are free to WhatsApp me. I'll be able to support you. So if you have got any query questions, I'll be happy to answer all the queries right now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So it was an extremely enlightening session with multiple points discussed throughout. So now we will proceed to the Q&A session. There are 3 queries in the chat box, post which, if anyone would like to use the raise hand option, we will take up those queries one by one. For the first, we will consider the queries typed out in the chat box. There were multiple queries typed out by Mr. AJ Patel. So AJ sir, I would request you to kindly unmute and state those queries. Or if you'd like me to speak out those queries one by one, please just type out the same in the chat box.
Please, sir, you speak the questions one by one, please, sir.
Okay, I will do the same then. So the first query that was received was LC received by first beneficiaries of 10,000 USD. Transferred LC is 7,000 as 33,000 is the profit of first beneficiary. What will be the case of knocking off shipping bill in this case?
So depend. So please remember here, shipping bill and all those things may not be there. Okay. So we are talking about when goods are basically shipped from India, isn't it? Shipping bill and all those things. For example, let us take one example that I had given that example that actually as a middleman, as a trader, you have received LC from Bangladesh. Oh, sorry, you have received LC from South Africa. Let me go there. And you are procuring goods from Bangladesh. Goods will not come to India. Okay, this is the example I was giving. This one. You can see here. This is the LC you have received, MT 700, right? Applicant is based in South Africa. You are the beneficiary in India. So what you have done, it is possible that you have transferred this LC to the actual supplier of the goods based in Bangladesh. So goods will not come to India. Goods will be directly shipped from Bangladesh to South Africa. Okay. So there will be no shipping bill. I mean, knocking off shipping bill, like we are discussing that we have done export from India, it will not come into the picture.
This is the case of merchanting trade, sir. But if it is a case like if I'm transferring the LC to any of the person, any of the manufacturer or the supplier into India itself, I'm the first
India itself.
beneficiary. That person, yeah, that person is going to be the second beneficiary. In that case, shipping bill knockoff will come into the picture, certainly. So what will be the scenario in that case? Because, RBI doesn't allow to have a, even 10% tolerance. Even 10% tolerance is there, 10% deviation is there, right of procedure has to be invoked. If it is more than 5%, then RBI's special permission has to be taken to knock off the shipping bill. So that's a big problem. Now, in this case, 10,000 and 1,000 is a profit. So it automatically becomes 10%, which is more than 5%. Means directly for knocking off the shipping bill, I'll have to approach to the RBI.
So we need to understand that what we have discussed is basically transaction of transferable LC, isn't it? It has got nothing to do with the RBI. What we have discussed today is ICICI publication, UCP Article 38 related to transferable LC. Country-wise, this RBI or FEMA or whatever things are there, guidelines we need to follow as a Indian exporter if we are exporting from India. So whatever needs to be followed definitely will come into the picture. So here in this case, for example, shipping bill is there. So that guy you want to say that has shipped goods for $9,000, for example, and shipping bill okay. So basically, if that is needed to be requested from the RBI, that is to be done. For example, merchant trade also, when I was giving this example, will require the RBI guidelines related to that merchant trade, isn't it? So those aspects are different. Basically, whatever need to be complied as an Indian exporter when we are doing the export or we are involved in export, RBI guidelines definitely we need to follow. Okay.
Okay, sir. One thing that on whose name the shipping bill will be generated, like I am the first beneficiary, I am transferring the LC to some another manufacturer into India itself. Correct. So on whose name the shipping bill will
So
be generated?
goods will be shipped directly to the actual importer under transferable LC. So as a merchant trader, you will not get involved in that part.
So shipping bill will be generated by the second beneficiary, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you are allowed or you have got the right to substitute only two things, draft, if any, or invoice. That's all. All other documents will remain, that will be given by the second beneficiary will be used under transferable LC. No other documents we can touch as a beneficiary of transferable LC.
It means that our buyers applicants detail will be available to the second beneficiary.
See, most of the time it will be. Most of the time it will be they will all be aware. Means you are a middleman, then you know that this is you will be aware definitely. Applicant also will be aware about this transaction most of the time.
There is no way out to maintain the confidentiality in this case, sir, because the second beneficiary knows that who is the end buyer, then definitely maybe the second order might not be with me.
Not necessary. That is what I was telling now. So it depends on the transaction. So maybe that applicant is not willing to deal directly with the second beneficiary because he's not aware about him. And you have got a good reputation as a middleman, a merchant trader. Maybe that requirement is very big. One guy will not be able to submit the entire quantity. Then they need to rely on you because you are the person based in India. You can procure the goods from different supplier and you can give one shot entire thing to the burden will not be there on applicant. So that could be the reason.
It means that certificate of origin also will be issued by the second beneficiary, correct?
Everything, including bill of lading, every documents, including invoice and draft, will also be there from second beneficiary only. Only thing that you as a first beneficiary has got the right to substitute the invoice and draft of second beneficiary. If you don't do that, then transferring bank will simply forward the documents received from second beneficiary. That includes second beneficiary's draft and invoice also to the issuing bank. Every documents will be given, including insurance document also by the second beneficiary.
Sir, in case of multiple second beneficiary in whose name the master bill of lading will be created, in case of multiple second beneficiary.
So
in
if
transferable
three
LC.
second if three second beneficiaries are there, all three need to generate their own.
And who will pay the shipping charges and all? Actually,
So it will be as per the LC only. Everything basically, if it depends, if it is a case of CIP, CIF, then beneficiary need to be here.
second beneficiary or first beneficiary?
Yeah. First beneficiary is not involved. First beneficiary role is very
Okay.
limited here, right? Everything second
Okay.
beneficiary has to do. Okay. Whether it is only one second beneficiary or can be three second beneficiary, B, C, D, or only B. Okay. So second beneficiary has received the transferred LC. For him, it is a normal LC, right? But it is under it has got the nature that, okay, 710.
So he has to do all the compliance. Just we have to change the invoice and draft only. Like
That's
okay.
only, yes. In case
Okay.
it is a transferable LC, your role is very limited. It is much safer. That is what I was telling, right? So compared to back versus transferable LC, given the choice, go for transferable LC as a trader, middleman.
So he will be clearing, the second beneficiary will be clearing all the documents from the customs, right?
Yeah.
The second beneficiary.
Everything they need to do. If they do not do and submit the document as per LC terms and condition under transferred LC, they will not be getting the payment. Okay. And obviously, if they are not getting, that means middlemen also will not get the payment, right?
Okay. And in this, sir, field number 46A, you have mentioned that full set of clean bill of lading marked notifying applicant. Suppose this particular clause is not there, then we can switch the BL and we can hide the identity of the seller also in BL, correct?
No, nothing will be permitted. Again, I say, only you have got the right to change two things. Draft and invoice. Nothing to be changed.
But in the
Bank will not allow you.
suppose there is not written into this field number 46A, full set of clean bill of lading, just only that much is written. Can we switch the BL?
No, you are not allowed. Transferring bank will not allow.
Even though it is not written mark notifying to applicant, then also it is not allowed.
This is listen, you have got only two rights. Substitute its own invoice and draft. That's all. Okay. As far as UCP is concerned, and transferring bank will not even allow you to change anything other than these two. And they will ask that, give me your invoice and draft. That's all. They will remove draft and invoice of second beneficiaries, and all the documents will be forwarded. Documents will not be
Transferable
given
LC
to you.
allows only the confidentiality of pricing only, nothing else.
Which one? Sorry?
Transferable LC, it means that allows the confidentiality of the pricing only, nothing else. Because if the BL also cannot be switched, means buyer and seller will know each other for sure. Certificate of origin also is being supplied by the second beneficiary, means the buyer will come to know that who is the shipper, who is the
I have already told, usually all the parties will be known to each other.
Perfect. Got it.
This is the practical thing. So technically, whatever we can discuss, debate, but effectively there are so many means available to the applicant. He will be able to know who is the actual supplier of the goods. Even if you substitute invoice and draft is yours, isn't it? Not many other documents are there from where he can get the knowledge, and literally all will be aware. Despite that, you may get this type of transaction because of, you can say, benefit of the transferable LC for the applicant or actual supplier of the goods. Maybe that actual supplier is a very small player in the market. Maybe not, he is very good in doing the export, but you are the person who can guide and you can educate, and you are giving the business to them. Okay, so $9,000 also that guy is getting every time, then definitely he'll be with you. But yeah, risk is there. It is quite possible that applicant may issue directly in favor of the actual supplier. That is there, but that may not be there. And I can tell you that a lot of transaction happens despite knowing each and everything, because ultimately you are facilitating the transaction and you are entitled to get the commission, right? Whether it is a margin, profit margin, whatever you can. Therefore, it is mentioned that it is not necessary that $10,000 you have received, only 9,000 you will transfer. It is possible that you transfer the entire $10,000. Okay. So that means what? You will not get any margin. You will not get any commission. Yes, you may get, but not under LC, because LC amount was 10,000, entire amount was transferred. Second beneficiary will be entitled to get the entire $10,000 from the issuing bank, right? But you will have the separate agreement that, okay, fine, this sales I have facilitated, this purchase I have facilitated, then this is your commission. But that will be outside the purview of transferable LC. But that is possible.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Discrepancy
So-
cost will be to whom,
And-
sir? First beneficiary or second?
And sir, if
Sorry?
partial draw,
So I just want to interject here for a moment. I do understand that participants have a lot of queries, but let us just wrap up the queries from one participant before proceeding to the other one. So
Fine.
Raghu sir, I would request you to kindly just hold on for a couple of minutes more. If you do wish to unmute, you just use the raise hand option, and I will indicate when you can state your query. Thank you. AJ sir, does that cover your query, or is we can take one final query from you before proceeding to the next part?
Just discrepancy cost will be to whom? I think 2 or 3 people have asked this same question. The discrepancy cost will be to the first beneficiary in case of transferable, or to the second beneficiary.
So in case of transferred LC, it will be second beneficiary. In case of transferable LC, it will be first beneficiary. Simple.
Didn't get it, sir. Suppose I am the first beneficiary and the
So,
LC is getting.
so you have got the first beneficiary, right? So what will happen that ultimately documents will be presented to transferring bank, isn't it? Will come to the transferring bank by the second beneficiary, right?
Yeah.
From the second beneficiary. So transferring bank will definitely would scrutinize and check. Okay. So that is the first cut. But if documents have been sent or forwarded by the transferring bank to the issuing bank, then issuing bank will examine, and issuing bank, if raises the discrepancies, then obviously first beneficiary need to bear that cost.
Even though if the documents are being transferred from the second beneficiary in absence of the response from the first beneficiary, as you said that within first intimation, the first beneficiary has to submit the documents for invoice and draft. Suppose he fails in doing so. So second beneficiary's document will be sent to the applicant, though the discrepancy cost will be borne by the first beneficiary. It is somewhat like the B is doing something wrong and A is going to get a penalty for the same.
Listen, so if second beneficiary's documents are non-compliant, then you will not get payment from the issuing bank, isn't it? We are talking about a small thing. We are talking about the discrepancies fees. What about the LC value? LC amount you will not get from the issuing bank. Issuing bank is not obligated to honor when documents are discrepant, isn't it?
That is, but there is a clause now that per discrepancy $100 will be debited, for example.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. What I am talking, you think about the $10,000. If documents are discrepant, then issuing bank has the, you can say, discretionary whether they want to accept the waiver given by the applicant on the discrepancies or not. So if they choose to simply refuse, they will simply return the entire set of documents. So your entire $10,000 will not be given by the issuing bank. If they choose to give $10,000, okay, if they choose to give $10,000 and they have deducted, for example, $200, that means transferring bank has received amount of 9,800, correct?
Yes.
If discrepancies belong to second beneficiary, then that can be definitely passed on to the second beneficiary by the transferring bank. Because ultimately that guy, second beneficiary has submitted the document for how much amount? $9,000. And documents were discrepant, 200 less has been received. Then that person, second beneficiary, will receive the less $200.
Okay, 8,800 will only
Yeah,
be given
but
by
I
the
mean, you
transferring
can
bank.
calculate. Yeah, so understand the transaction, that is more important, how it works. So first raise for any discrepancies is whether we will be able to get the payment from the issuing bank or not. Yes, if we have been able to get the payment, then maybe discrepancy fees is a very less amount, which can be definitely passed on to the second beneficiary, because you have replaced only 2 documents. means invoice and draft. And that too will be examined by transferring bank, isn't it? And if discrepancies are there, then your invoice and draft will not be forwarded by the transferring bank, but they will forward the invoice and draft received from the second beneficiary. So understand, whatever documents as a first beneficiary you will present should be exactly complying with the LC terms and conditions. Otherwise, transferring bank will not use your draft and invoice while they forward the documents to the issuing bank. Despite, as for example, there is no discrepancies in draft or invoice, but there are discrepancies in bill of lading, maybe packing list, certificate, whatever things are there. So some amount has been deducted. So less amount will be remitted by the, you can say, issuing bank after deducting their discrepancy charges. Then accordingly, transferring bank will reduce the amount while remitting the fund to the second beneficiary, right?
You mean that to conclude that in case of invoice and draft, only first beneficiary will be penalized. Otherwise, for the rest of the document, the second beneficiary will be penalized in terms of discrepancy charges. Correct?
Frankly speaking, first beneficiary will not be penalized for draft and invoice. Because if there are discrepancies in invoice and draft, that will not be forwarded or used by the transferring bank.
That is, but latent discrepancy. Sometimes a hold
Aegis
becomes.
No, transferring bank will not forward your draft and invoice.
There is an overlook, sir. I have seen that latent discrepancy is being found by the issuing bank subsequently. By mistake, the issuing bank, that's a transferring bank, has forwarded this document.
Okay, you say that transferring bank, when they had examined, they have found the document of first beneficiaries complying. But once it is received by the issuing bank, they found certain discrepancies which are valid one. For example, invoice only. So in that case, yes, that part you as a first beneficiary need to bear.
Okay, it means first beneficiary is obliged to bear only for invoice and draft. Rest of the documents, if are discrepant, it will be the problem on the side of the second beneficiary, and proportionate amount will be debited from the second beneficiary, not from the first beneficiary. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And that all can be discussed upfront while doing the transfer. I mean, that can be inbuilt in while doing the transfer also. This aspect can be built in. Okay. But if it is not, then this should be the criteria you can use that. Okay, fine. These are the documents where discrepancy is found. These are not my document, means not invoice and draft. Then you need to bear the consequences of discrepancy fee raised by the issuing bank. Then second beneficiary need to bear that.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And sir, if
Rahul, sir, please just hold on a minute. Yes, I know you have raised your hand. Please just give me a minute. So there was one final query in the chat box from Mr. Tapan Shah, followed by which we will proceed to Rahul sir's query, followed by e-commerce Desi Village. So Tapan sir, please just unmute, state your query, and Rahul sir, your turn is next.
Yeah, thank you, sir, Mr. Tudu. Now, see, I'm a trading company, and we are an exporter of yarns from India. So we get foreign LCs. Now tell me, what shall we do to avoid our working capital exposure with our suppliers, where we'll have to, we end up paying them in advance and then shipping our goods out. So I would like to see that if I can also provide probably like an LC to them or something on those lines, and any other mechanism. What can we as an exporter do so we can also reduce our working capital requirements to do these shipments?
So you are the manufacturer of the goods or what?
I'm a trading company. So trading
company, yeah. So you need to procure the goods and you need to pay in advance, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So if you are basically trader or middleman, or you can say first beneficiary of the transferable LC, then you can use this. And a part of that LC can be transferred to the.
We cannot disclose the name of the buyer to our manufacturer.
I have already made. Technically, it seems that nobody will be able to know, but there are many information available in documents where easily anybody can check and know who is the, you can say, supplier of the goods, right?
So, as much as I know that there is
because the same documents will be forwarded.
So here we are not forwarding the same documents, right? Because obviously I'm buying in INR and selling in dollar.
No, so it is not possible to change the currency.
So how do I go about? My question to you is, how do I reduce my working capital requirements? What shall I do?
So indeed, in this case, you need to ask your bank that, okay, I have got the LC amount for $10,000 and I need to procure the goods from local market in rupees. Then definitely, I mean, you can ask for the back-to-back LC, because transferable LC will not work, because there is only 5 changes are allowed in that. That does not include the change in currency. Only amount can be reduced. Okay. So this product will not be available for change in currency from US dollar to INR. So you cannot change the currency and convert, and you can give it to the second beneficiary. That is not permitted. Okay. So only option would be that, okay, you have got the LC for $10,000, and basis that you request your bank for issuance of back-to-back LC. But in fact, I would tell that bank will be very hesitant to issue back-to-back LC due to risk involved in that, because they will be taking their own undertaking, right? So there is a risk for them that what if they need to make the payment under child LC in rupees for whatever amount, and for any reason they don't get the payment from the parent LC is issuing bank. So most of the bank will be hesitant. Frankly speaking, lot many query will be there. They will try to assess your financial position, your collateral, your strength, your background, and they will have to sanction LC limit. Then only they will be able to issue LC, because it is not the same LC they are going to transfer. They have to book in their own, I mean, they have to issue, they will become issuing bank. So they are taking call on you rather than the LC issuing bank to, I mean, so basically we need to understand the difference. You can approach your bank for back-to-back LC, but a lot of, I mean, comfort you need to give why they should sanction LC limit to you.
Understood.
Right.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. The next query is from Mr. Rahul. So please unmute, and the floor is all yours. Please go
Then
ahead.
I will see, I'm going to come out from this screen sharing, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Rahul, sir, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Yeah, if partial drawings are not allowed, if our supplier of goods, the second beneficiary is not able to supply goods, so he will upon whose consent the second beneficiary is transferred. Upon consent of the second beneficiary only, it can be transferred again to us, or we itself first beneficiary can have the authority to transfer, take the second beneficiary, like uh, we should have the consent of the second beneficiary to transfer it again to us, or who have the authority actually.
Yeah. So basically this second beneficiary, so you will have the some agreement with that second beneficiary that, okay, fine, you will get the transferred LC and you need to supply the goods under transferred LC. But for any reason that second beneficiary is not able to supply the goods under transferred LC, then you may request that second beneficiary to transfer back that LC to first beneficiary. That is permitted under UCP, right? So first of all, shipment need to be done by the second beneficiary. If he's not able to do that shipment, first beneficiary can request the second beneficiary to return back or transfer back that transferred amount, so that you had transferred the LC for $9,000 to B. B is not able to ship the goods. Then B can transfer back that amount to you, and you can now transfer to C, who can ship the goods. That is possible.
Okay, sir. And if he's a local supplier, he does not have IEC code or AD code like that. Can he do? Can he act as a second beneficiary and do all compliance?
So again, I will say there are two aspects. What we are discussing is the structure. The structure means how does transferable LC works. Any export from India will require the local law to be followed. Okay. So obviously local law will supersede any of the UCP law. So if IC is needed, means it is needed before do the shipment. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So
Thank
now
you, sir.
we have one final query from e-commerce Desi Village. No other participants have raised their hands, so I will assume that this is the final query. The official from e-commerce Desi Village, please go ahead and state your query.
Yes, sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Thanks for the nice presentation here.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Actually, we are a food product exporter. Sir, actually, we are getting for an example, we are getting LC from Gulf. He's a end buyer and we are having a middleman. He's a trader. He's the first beneficiary. So we are getting a transferable LC from the buyer to the first beneficiary. And from first beneficiary, it is transferred to India to me. So I'm the final exporter. So in this case, after completing the export, if I courier the document to the first beneficiary, generally in how many days he has to confirm or like give me an okay, everything is document is okay, like that shift when we'll get, sir, generally, and how many days it takes for me to get the payment? The payment is from the first beneficiary or the payment is from the end buyer?
Okay. So you are the second beneficiary if I have understood properly, right?
Yes, sir, correct, sir.
So once you have done the shipment, you have presented the documents to your bank, and your
Yes, sir.
bank would have forwarded the documents to the transferring bank, correct?
Correct, sir.
So your question is days, how many days, right?
Yes, sir.
That is what the question is. Okay. And your second question was basically who is basically obligated to make you the payment, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So we need to read the transferred LC carefully. How the payment will be made to you. That is important. Okay. So there you will find what is mentioned. Many of the time I can tell you, while doing the transferring bank will put a condition that we will remit the fund to the second beneficiary only when we receive the payment from the issuing bank. That is quite possible. Read your LC text properly, how you will be reimbursed, how you will be getting the payment, and what condition. Okay, so it will be captured there. If it is mentioned that transferring bank will make the payment only when they receive the payment from the issuing bank, then we need to wait. Then transferring bank will approach the first beneficiary to replace his invoice and draft. Then they will forward the documents. Then issuing bank may take maximum 5 banking days for examination of documents. If documents are complying, then only issuing bank will make the payment based on the LC terms and condition. If LC says side payment, then within that 5 maximum banking days, they will honor it and they will remit the fund. Whatever time it takes from your part to your bank to beneficiary's bank, from transferring bank, and transferring bank to issuing bank will take its own time of maximum 5 banking days for examination of document. If that is the condition, read that terms and condition accordingly, bank role will come. Okay. So usually while doing the transfer, most of the transferring bank will not take any obligation to the second beneficiary, but they may take, but depend on the what is the terms and condition they have agreed before doing the transfer. Okay, transfer of LC, because they are not obligated to make a transfer, but you have done that. If they have agreed to make the transfer, they may put their own terms and conditions. So read those terms and conditions, it will be visible. If condition like this is mentioned, means payment will be received by you with a bit delay till the time it is released from the issuing bank.
Okay, sir. So as per UCP rules, the buyer, I mean the first beneficiary has to tell his bank that within 5 days. That is a maximum time allowed in the UCP, right?
So UCP, when we say UCP allows each bank shall have maximum of 5 banking days for examination of documents after the date of presentation, right? So each bank means nominated bank, issuing bank, each bank separately will have maximum of 5 banking days after the date of presentation for examination of document. Okay, not the beneficiary. Bank will have maximum of 5 banking days for examination of documents as per UCP.
Okay, sir. Okay. So in that case, one more doubt. So is there possible to there be a two middlemen, like two country involved like first beneficiary is Gulf, and second beneficiary is Singapore, and the third beneficiary is from India. Is it possible, sir?
We have discussed this that in transferable LC, only one first beneficiary will be there. Means transferable LC beneficiary will be called as a first beneficiary, right? So if LC amount is 10,000, it can be transferred to more than one second beneficiary. So it is possible that more than one second beneficiary could be there. Maybe you are the beneficiary, second beneficiary, another person also can be a second beneficiary, because maybe that quantity is so big that first beneficiary wants part to be transferred to you and part to others. That is the only thing can be done. But third beneficiary, if you are saying that after second beneficiary, whether there could be subsequent beneficiary, no subsequent beneficiary.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your patience and answering my questions, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So before we bring the seminar to a close, we will now just take one final query from AJ Patel, sir. And following that, we will bring the seminar to a close. AJ, sir, please go ahead.
Sir, it was really excellent clarity being developed by you. We really appreciate your experience and expertise onto this particular topic. It was really eye-opening. Just last query, what the problem that we had been facing while dealing with the banks in case of merchanting trade? What we learned right now is that transferable LC will be mostly useful in case of the merchanting trade as well as into the local market also for the sourcing of the material, right? But in case of merchanting trade, whenever we deal or ask to our bank, they are saying that we will not allow you to do a merchanting trade, and just only the 20% of the last year or last 3 years of turnover will be allowed. So many bottlenecks are there, to be honest, right? Which really hampers the growth of our country also in a way, because there could be two black ships. I'm not Nirav Modi or the Mehul Choksi. I'm a small person. I want to contribute a bit by my squirrel effort to my country. Correct. But even though I being seen by the authorities and by the regulatory bodies as if I'm going to be an absconder. Correct. So this is one of the biggest bottleneck that we are not allowed. Last 3 years of turnovers, 20% only is allowed to merchanting trade, and that also to the discretionary power of the banks and this and that. So many kind of problems are there, right? So just to share this point that we also want to do really merchanting trade. For last many years, we are struggling for the same, but because of this bottleneck of having these limitations of 20 years, 20% of the turnover, we are really not been in the condition to grow, have an exponential growth, sir. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, so I since you are already experiencing that, then I will simply say yes. This is what the observation is, that banks do not feel more comfortable while doing this type of transaction, frankly speaking. Reasons known to them. Okay. So there could be so many reasons why bank has taken this type of policy, because we have understood the concept that even if a bank has been named as a nominated bank, when you request for transfer, that bank is not obligated to do the transfer. Means that discretionary lies with the bank. So if they choose not to transfer, we cannot, force them to do the transfer. Or if they do the transfer, what should be the terms and condition? They can put their own terms and condition. That is the thing. Because when you talk about merchant trade, when goods doesn't come to India and you are procuring goods from X country going to Y country, but you are based in India, then RBI guidelines related to merchant trade will also come into the picture. Okay. So due to various reasons, banks would be very cautious about that. But yes, still we can explore, we can discuss with few of the banks. Yes, it is possible that few banks will be bit hesitant because they are not exposed to this type of transaction, or they perceive more risk of doing this type of transaction. Though this is one of the lucrative business for all the banks which are based abroad. Not many banks are engaged in this type of transaction in many of the countries, where a transferring bank fee is one of the good source of income for that. But for any reason, if our bank is not comfortable, then definitely we need to talk to them, educate them, discuss with them what is the issue, what is the challenge. But if they have already framed a policy that 20% of the turnover up to that much of amount will be allowed, maybe they have taken a conscious call based on whatever past trade records are there. That is the only comment I can say.
Generally, what is the transferring cost, sir? How much?
Cost will be usually LC issuing charges. Whatever that bank takes, it will be in line with that. So it will be
peanut.
roughly around 1%, you can say.
Just peanut, because that hardly costs SWIFT charges and this kind of things. And in this
Yeah,
case
so
of
transferring
transferring, LC, we don't
transferring
require to
bank
have a
charges.
money and margin money also to be occupied, na? So just only the transferring charges will be coming into the picture.
Yes. So here transferring fee we need to pay as a first beneficiary to the transferring bank. And that should be in the range of 1% only.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So with that, we will now officially bring the seminar to a close. First of all, I extend my gratitude to ICICI, sir. So thank you once again so much for your presentation. As always, your Q&A sessions are littered with many questions, which all of them keep getting answered. So that's why participants keep coming back for more questions. The information shared by you was extremely insightful. The Q&A session, a lot of deliberation going on, and I'm sure all the participants who were present must have benefited from the discussions that took place here. Second, for all the participants, thank you so much for maintaining the decorum throughout the meeting. A common question that kept coming up in the chat box. So the meeting of the recording will be shared with all the participants tomorrow. You should receive it by the first half, or if you do not receive it by, let's say 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., you can write out to us and we will inform you the reason for the delay. Any questions that any participant might have for ICICI, sir, you can write out to him directly. You must have noted his email ID and contact number. If for some reason you're unable to contact ICICI, sir, you can write your queries to us. We will surely forward them to ICICI, sir, in the future. And before we close the session, just a couple of minutes more. So for the members in the audience who are already a part of FIEO, they are a member of the organization, of the federation. You already know about the services we offer. We organize sessions on domestic events, trainings, and then there are some other sessions which are held regularly. They can relate to various topics, digital markets, e-commerce, or they can be more country specific or product specific. So for all the participants in the audience who are not currently members of FIEO, we would request you to kindly have a look at the services we offer. Because having taken your experience from this session, I am sure that becoming a member of FIEO can be beneficial for you in the long run, provided that you have the correct guidance and the correct information. And you can look at the services which we offer, the events, of course, they are present. Then there are certain other services such as the Indian Trade Portal and the Indian Business Portal. Portals developed by FIEO to enhance the knowledge of exporters and to give them a better working knowledge of how digital market and e-commerce can benefit you. And through the Indian Trade Portal, you can also have a look at what compliances might be applicable for your product going into a certain region or a certain country. Furthermore, there are sessions held with our Director General and CEO, Dr. Rajas Rai, every Wednesday. So you can have access to those sessions as well. And so this is just a shout out to all the non-members of FIEO that please get in touch with us, try and understand what FIEO is all about and how it can be beneficial for you. So with that, we now bring the session to a definite close. Once again, ICICI, sir, thank you so much for your time and for conducting this session.
Thank you, Prakya. Thank you, FIEO entire team. Thank you all the participants for giving valuable time, sharing valuable time with all of us. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.